roughly 1,300 employees as the agency begins laying off workers. The department's offices closed today for security reasons, we are told. They will reopen, though, tomorrow. Now, this is just the first step toward the president's goal of totally dismantling the agency. So how will the states tackle education once it returns to their control? Back with me now, here on the Hill, the Democratic governor from the state of Hawaii, Josh Green, with us once again. Governor, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
So it's kind of interesting because I essentially just heard the Republican president basically say, give it to the states. The governors are doing a great job. You're a Democratic governor. So that's a Republican president saying, yeah, let the Democrat Governor Green in Hawaii handle Hawaii. Do you object to that?
No, I'll take it. You know, I spent time with the president a couple of weeks ago with all the other governors. If that money flows to we governors, we'll make good use of it. Just for perspective, for those watching, 11% right now of my entire budget on education is from the federal government. I need those, I need those dollars for like special education, for kids with autism, for so many needs, for meals in our schools. So if the dollars flow to us and we get rid of some bureaucracy, I think governors will welcome the resource. So we have to be a little careful because it's a big department.
So why, the teachers unions, I'm sure you've heard from many in your party who are just, obviously when they hear dismantle the Department of Education, they're against that. But I just heard you say, yeah, okay, some form of it, I'm good with it. What would you say to those in your own party who are just against this full stop?
Well, right now there's, a lot of concern that the changes are too quick and we don't like to see anyone lose jobs. I mean, I'm also doing another thing, which I didn't get to say in the first part of my answer, which is we're hiring people. We are doing a huge hiring boom in our state to hire the federal workers or workers in Hawaii that are otherwise losing their jobs. And so that buffers some of the pain. Again, I want good education standards. We know that we can apply excellent standards, probably more specific to our own culture here. So that's why I can support these kind of changes. I don't want to see anyone lose services, but we will immediately take the dollars if they pass them over to us to hire people in education. That's the caveat.
Is the reality that change and help is needed? Because I was looking at Hawaii's education ranking, 32nd in pre-K through 12th, according to U.S. News and World Report. Over the last decade, math scores have gone down by about 4%. Reading scores basically flat, slightly down, while the cost per pupil has gone up about $8,000. Why has that happened? And who needs to be held accountable for that?
Well, Hawaii is pretty unique. One thing that I'm sure very few of the audience know about is we have a thing called the Compact Free States, which is we have an agreement with most of Polynesia because of the nuclear tests that went on through the Pacific to take in any immigrants legally. They have to come to us, almost all come to Hawaii. And they have some challenges. A lot of people don't speak English when they first come to Hawaii. We bear hundreds of millions of dollars of that burden, but historically, the federal government hasn't paid us for the services we give, and we're a small state. So those statistics are, I wouldn't expect people to know this, but they're very skewed because of that, because we will take everyone out of their own health needs and safety. So that's a big part of it. But I'm happy to be held accountable. I mean,
no, I'm not suggesting it's you. I'm not suggesting it's you personally. I was just looking at the numbers and wondering why. I hear your explanation. I hear your response. Let me ask you before we have to run. As you mentioned that you're hiring government workers or hoping to hire government workers. There's a debate here in Washington among your party, Democratic senators. Do they go along with the House spending bill and sort of hand Trump a victory? Or do they try to push back and maybe teeter on the brink of a government shutdown? If you were Senator Green, what would you do? Or I guess maybe a more fair question is, as Governor Green, what would you tell Democrats in this town?
I would make sure that they get a fair compromise as we go forward with the budget, that they get resources that will help all the states. That's as a governor, something I care about. And I would also say there has to be some kind of balance in these decisions. So we can't just hand over a decision and then let the next 9 months proceed where there's lots of deep cuts without an understanding of how we're going to make up the services and care for people.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.